G'day viewers, it's the end of another week, which means it's time once again for me to prove to you the world is totally fucked up with another edition of Totally Fucked Up Friday. Today's theme is a recurring one for me, copyright, and bullshit that happens in the name of copyright enforcement and protection. Now, speaking as an original content producer, I like the idea of having some rights around work that I create that's original. But what's being done around the world in law enforcement is nothing to do with creative artists and protecting their rights. It's all about dollars for big companies. If it was for dollars for creators, I'd be all over that shit. But it isn't. Nobody steals more from creative artists than the big record companies, movie companies, TV companies. There are a million examples, and it's not just over small people like me. The Rolling Stones have to sue record companies to get money that's owed to them. These people are the fucking thieves. Anyway, I'll start with a bit of good news. Am I allowed to say good news in Totally Fucked Up Friday? Oh, well, I'll do it anyway. In case you hadn't heard, Viacom lost their lawsuit against Google/YouTube, saying that YouTube's just a horrible copyright infringement zone. Now, without a doubt, shitloads of copyright material is uploaded to YouTube, but this court case was being contested under a law called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA. And the one good part of that thoroughly shit law is what's called the safe harbor provision. Namely, companies like YouTube and other hosting companies and ISPs, if they are alerted that infringing material is being uploaded to their site or through their site, then if they take it down, they're protected because they can't control everything that all the users do, but they can respond when they're told something wrong's happened. Now, under the letter of the law, this lawsuit was farcical. By just absolutely cut and dried, Google could not possibly have lost this lawsuit. But everyone was scared they were going to, and Viacom thought they could push it because the amount of fucking bullshit that happens in courts when it comes to copyright hearing. But for this stage, sanity prevails, Google come out on top, but Viacom have said they're going to appeal. You know what? If I was a fucking shareholder in Viacom, I would be voting so hard to throw out every member of the board of directors and sack every fucking moron who promoted this lawsuit. It's wasted millions, tens of millions, I don't know, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars, because they'll have to pay YouTube's legal fees as well, and now they want to keep going with an appeal, which they'll lose again under the fucking law. Forget basic decency, which should make them lose. Under the law, they will lose, and they're throwing more money after this. You should just sack everyone involved in it. They're morons. Now let's revisit the proposed laws that make the DMCA look like a little tea party. The ACTA, ACTA, the Anti-Counterfeit Trade Act. This is an internationally enforceable system of laws that, to the delight of conspiracy theorists everywhere, is being conducted in secret. This has some of the most fucked propositions in it ever that would hurt pretty much everyone. It would not serve the interests of the entertainment companies because it won't stop piracy at all, but it will hurt people who are doing stuff they should be allowed to do. And my personal favourite of these new leaks just keep coming out every day. Apparently, some of the people in the secret talks are horrified by what's going on because they're leaking all this material. The government still won't do it out in the open. This is being pushed very heavily from US interests, but it goes around the world. Notably, in Europe, the European lobby is apparently pushing to have jail sentences as part of the punishment for copyright infringement. And this is non-commercial infringement, not someone who runs off thousands of DVDs and sells them at street markets. This is, kids using LimeWire or whatever that kids use these days to share BitTorrents and whatnot. Actually sending people to jail for non-commercial copyright infringement. Yeah, that's completely in proportion with the scale of the offence. And if you think that's bad, just check the scrotal link to Boing Boing, which, besides telling you about that one about jailing people, just has a handful of other links to other scary shit in ACTA. Yes, you're not paranoid, this shit's really happening. And continuing around the world for copyright fuck-ups, let's look at the Canadian so-called Heritage Minister, James Moore. I call him so-called because the laws they're proposing would fucking kill any cultural heritage in Canada. It's modelled heavily on the US DMCA laws, and it's full of bullshit. And his attitude is even worse than the laws. He's making these ridiculous speeches where he calls people proposing quite reasonable reforms of copyright, he calls them the radical extremists. Then he denies he said that when it blows up in his face. Ooh, pity about the video, isn't it, Mr. Moore? That's what we're facing, not just in the US, not just in Canada, not just in Europe, around the world. Politicians lying, conducting their negotiations in secret, and they've been bought and paid for by the most corrupt fucking companies in the world. People who run their business in a way that would make the fucking mafia blush. This is who we're up against, and this is a fight that is not going away.